Today's lesson is called The Monkey's Paw. Hello, everyone. My name is Jeff.
I am Roger. We're talking about our featured short story this month, a story that came out a long time ago. It's entitled The Monkey's Paw, and we summarized it for you. So before we continue with our story, let's summarize what has happened so far. So yes, we got the White family relaxing in their cozy home. Sergeant Major Morris stops by and starts telling them of his exploits in India. But they remembered him mentioning something about a monkey's paw. Hey, tell us about that monkey's paw. So he kind of reluctantly told them about this paw. He pulled it out of his pocket and he told them, hey, you can make wishes on this monkey's paw, but you got to be careful. Only wish for sensible things.
It's not worth it, everyone. This is an evil paw. Well, it's not evil, but soon we're going to learn that when you wish for the wrong thing on this monkey's paw, bad things are going to happen, okay? Remember, the whole idea behind this paw is that you shouldn't meddle or interfere with fate. An Indian miracle worker wanted to teach people this lesson. Don't mess with fate. So when you make wild wishes, terrible things might just happen to you. So this monkey's paw, it's magical and spooky and scary, but it's not necessarily evil. But when people do wish on it, bad things happen. The first owner wished for death, and the second owner, this Morris fellow, his experience with this particular paw is so bad that he wants to destroy it. Remember, he threw it in the fire and said it only brought misfortune, and then said, oh yeah, let it burn, don't save it. He knows what this paw is all about. It's not going to bring anything good into your life. But Mr. White and Mrs. White, well, they don't know that yet, and they're going to have to learn this the hard way. And yes, that's what day 2 of our story is going to be all about. And we're going to start reading from day 2 of our story called The Monkey's Paw right after this.
After Morris's departure, the White family decided to put the monkey's paw to the test. Herbert suggested wishing for 200 pounds. As soon as Mr. White made the wish, the paw moved like a snake in his hand.
各位好，第一部分我们看到一个片语 put somebody or something to the test， 表示使某人或某物受试验、检验。例如 We won't know how well Amy works until we put her to the test. 我们要让 Amy 接受考验，才会知道她的工作能力。
Okay, let's continue summarizing our featured short story here. Remember, Sergeant Major Morris left the monkey's paw at the White family's house, and he's left. So after Morris's departure, the White family decided to put the monkey's paw to the test. So again, they get 3 wishes with this monkey's paw. So they want to see if it's going to actually work or not. So they put it to the test, which means they're going to basically try it to see if it works. For example, if you study French for a while, well, you're going to want to travel to France to put your French ability to the test. You're going to want to see how good your French is when you travel to France.
There you go. Here, we're not talking about an exam or anything like that. Here, to put something to the test is to challenge that thing. You kind of cause someone or something to prove itself to you. Yes, you cause something to show that it can do what it says it can do. And yes, this monkey's paw, apparently, it can bring 3 owners 3 wishes. Now, can it really do this? Let's find out. Let's put it to the test. And that's exactly what the Whites do. Yes, after Morris leaves, after his departure, they go ahead and they try to wish using the monkey's paw, which is a big, big mistake. Anyways, the beginning of the sentence says, after Morris's departure. That is, when he left, when he leaves, the Whites do this. Yes, departure is the noun. Depart is the verb. To depart is to leave. Departure is the act of leaving. That's all there is to it. Anyways, the Whites, they're going to have to learn the hard way about the monkey's paw here. Remember, the monkey's paw, it's not a good thing. It's supposed to teach people a lesson about fate, i.e. that wishes are bad because they interfere with the inner workings of fate. Anyways, next we learn that Herbert suggested wishing for 200 pounds. Hey, Mom and Dad, I have a good idea. Let's wish for 200 pounds.
Yep, sounds like a good suggestion. Let's just wish for something sensible. We could always use 200 pounds. A pound, of course, is the unit of money in England. And at the time, 1902, 200 pounds was a lot of money. Nowadays, it's probably not very much. You could barely even buy a new smartphone. But in any case, that was Herbert's suggestion. And as soon as Mr. White made the wish, the paw moved like a snake in his hand. So Mr. White made the wish, okay? I wish I had 200 pounds. So that's his wish here. And then the monkey's paw. This is kind of gross, actually. It kind of squirmed like a snake in his hand. Gee, if that happened to me, I'd probably drop that monkey's paw right to the floor. That just sounds really gross.
Sounds really spooky and gross. Ooh, it sends shivers down my spine. I'm officially creeped out. And how ominous is this? Oh my goodness, you wish for something, and instead of the 200 pounds appearing before you, ooh, the paw moves like a snake in your hand in that creepy way. I get the feeling that something bad is going to happen. I think that the Whites should have listened to Morris. Anyways, folks, with that, it is time for us to take a break, but don't go away. We'll be right back after this.
The next morning, Herbert went to work. Mr. and Mrs. White continued about their morning as usual until a man showed up at their door. He notified them of a terrible accident that had taken place at the factory where Herbert worked. Their son had been caught in machinery and was killed. The man offered the Whites 200 pounds as compensation, the precise amount for which they had wished.
"第二部分我们看到一个动词 notify 指通知告知，像是 The bank will notify me when the money arrives in my account. 当钱汇入我的账户时，银行会通知我。另外，补充 notify 的名词 notification N-O-T-I-F-I-C-A-T-I-O-N notification， 所以可以说 The restaurant will send you a notification via text message the day before your reservation. 餐厅会在你预约的前一天寄送通知简讯给你。再来，我们看到 compensation 这个字为名词，指赔偿金，作为补偿的事物。举例来说 Raina sought compensation in court after the car accident left her unable to work for several weeks. 由于车祸之后 Raina 好几个星期都无法工作，她在法庭上要求赔偿金。另外，补充 compensation 的动词 compensate C-O-M-P-E-N-S-A-T-E compensate。我们可以说 Jack compensates for his lack of natural talent by working harder. Jack 借由更加努力来弥补自己缺乏天分。接着我们看到形容词 precise 指精确的、准确的。例如 New laser technology allows Patty to be extremely precise in crafting objects. 新的雷射科技让 Patty 在制作物件时可做到极为精准。A precise 去除字尾的 e 再加上 ion 则可以成为它的名词 precision。我们可以说 The precision of the carpenter's work was amazing. 这个木匠作品的精致度令人惊艳。
So the next morning, Herbert went to work. Okay, so they made the wish for 200 pounds. That sounds pretty sensible. It sounds like a pretty innocent little wish. So Herbert, the son, I guess he's old enough to work, he went to work, and Mr. and Mrs. White were still at home, and they continued about their morning as usual, you know, doing house chores, cleaning up, preparing breakfast and lunch and stuff like that. But this happened until a man showed up at their door. So there was probably another knock at their door. Who could that be? Is Sergeant Major Morris back again? But there was a man there, somebody else, and he notified them of a terrible accident that had taken place at the factory where Herbert worked.
So, no. I think I know what's going to happen here. Oh, no. So, remember, the 200 pounds they wished for, it didn't just appear, okay? It didn't materialize out of thin air. So the next day, everybody went about their chores, their daily routines and stuff like that. Herbert went to work. Mr. and Mrs. White continued about their morning as usual. But then a man showed up at their door with bad news. He notified them of a terrible accident where Herbert worked. I think I know what's going to happen here. The monkey paw is going to strike.
Right, so we've got the verb to notify here. That means that somebody's telling you some important information. Sometimes it's serious information. Sometimes it's bad news. For example, someone could come to your apartment and knock on the door and say, I'm here to notify you that you have to leave this apartment because you have missed your rent for several months. We're kicking you out. Gather all your things and leave right now. So we're notifying you of that. But here the man notified them or told them of a terrible accident that happened or that took place at the factory where Herbert worked. I'm sure they were probably shaking in their shoes there. My goodness, what happened to our son Herbert? Well, here's the bad news. Their son had been caught in machinery and was killed. So if you talk about machinery, you're talking about various machines that perform certain tasks. And I guess he was working in a factory or something on an assembly line. And maybe he got too close to the machine and got caught on the gears. And something terrible happened as a result of that. So yes, he was caught in the machinery and he died as a result.
Oh, that's so sad. He was killed. What a tragedy. Here's the question, though. Where is the 200 pounds that they wished for? I get the feeling that that's going to be coming right now, that the whites, I should say, are going to receive this 200 pounds. Yes, that's the case as well. Get this. The man offered the whites 200 pounds as compensation, the precise amount for which they had wished. So there you have it. The monkey's paw, it has struck. Yes, you'll get 200 pounds, but will it be worth it? Most definitely not. Would you change or exchange, I should say, 200 pounds for your son? I don't think so. Even though 200 pounds at that time was probably a lot of money, it's not worth the life of your son. So again, don't use the monkey's paw. Don't tempt fate. Anyways, before we move on here, we've got a couple of things that we need to talk about. The first of these is the word precise. If something is precise, it's exact, detailed, accurate, etc. So what a coincidence. This guy shows up and says your son is dead, and here's your compensation package. 200 pounds. We're exchanging your son's life here, for the most part, for 200 pounds. How spooky.
How terrible. I kind of wish they would have won the lottery or something and no one had to die. But that's how they got their 200 pounds. Someone had to be sacrificed, and the 200 pounds were given to the White family as compensation or in return or to make up for the death of their son, the exact amount of the wish. Okay, let's move on now to the third and final part of our lesson for today. Let's listen to it first.
Days after Herbert's funeral, Mrs. White suddenly remembered the paw. "Go down and get it quickly and wish our boy alive again," she said to her husband. At first, Mr. White resisted, knowing that Herbert's appearance would be shocking and unrecognizable. But finally, he made the wish. Moments later, a knock came from the door. Mr. White realized it was Herbert, who had walked home from his grave. While Mrs. White desperately tried to unlock the door, Mr. White grabbed the paw and made the final wish. The knocking ceased, and when Mrs. White opened the door, no one was there.
第三部分我们看到一个单字 grave， 这个字在课文中为名词，有坟墓之意。像是 My mother always brings flowers when she visits my grandfather's grave。 我妈妈探访我祖父的坟墓时，总是带着花束。另外 grave 除了可以当名词使用外，还可以当形容词，指严重的。 举例来说 ，If this issue is not resolved soon, it could have grave consequences. 如果这个问题不尽速解决，将会造成很严重的后果。最后，我们看到一个副词 desperately， 用来指急迫的、急需的、不顾一切的。例如 Kate must go away on business next week, and she desperately needs someone to look after her dog.Kate 下周必须出差，所以她急切地需要一个人帮忙照顾她的狗。而 desperately 去除字尾的 ly 则可以成为它的形容词 desperate， 所以我们可以说 Lost, sunburned, and desperate for food and water, Alice stumbled through the desert. 迷路又晒伤的 Alice 在沙漠中蹒跚而行，急需食物和水。
Anyways, the Whites have lost their loving son, Herbert. They are besides themselves with grief. They don't know what to do, and for this reason, they kind of forgot about the monkey's paw for a while. But then, days after Herbert's funeral, Mrs. White suddenly remembered the paw. And I hope that she doesn't wish for Herbert to come back. That would probably result in something awful and terrible occurring. Anyways, though, before we move on and find out what happens, let's talk about this word funeral. A funeral is a special ceremony. It's a special ceremony where people say goodbye to a person who has died. Yeah, funeral is held to remember and to celebrate a dead person before that person is either buried or cremated.
Right, so of course they had to go to their son's funeral. It was probably a very sad occasion. So after they got back home from the funeral, Mrs. White suddenly remembered the paw. Yes, we got so caught up in the bad news about our son's death, about his accident at the factory, we forgot all about the paw, the monkey's paw. So she remembered it suddenly. And she said, go down and get it quickly and wish our boy alive again. So that's their second wish. Okay, well, he died. We got the 200 pounds. But hey, if we make another wish, maybe we can get our son back. That does not sound like a sensible wish to me. But still, you know, these are grieving parents. They're very sad. So I would expect them to make a wish like this. They would give anything to have their son back.
Now, at first, Mr. White, he thought better of this. He said, oh, man, I probably shouldn't do this. Yes, at first, Mr. White resisted. But why did he resist? Well, he resisted, knowing that Herbert's appearance would be shocking and unrecognizable. Remember, he got caught in machinery there in the factory. He was probably hurt quite badly. It would probably look pretty bad, and that's why he would look unrecognizable. He wouldn't look like their son anymore. He'd be that horribly disfigured.
Yeah, like I haven't seen a lot of my high school classmates in many years, and many of them are unrecognizable because of growing old and things like that. But back to the story here, Mr. White was resistant to making this wish, but finally he made the wish. Okay, his wife was probably desperate. Oh, we got to have our son back. I don't care what he looks like. So moments later, a knock came from the door. We could also say there was a knock at the door. Mr. White realized it was Herbert, who had walked home from his grave. Ooh. Your grave, of course, is where you're buried after you're dead. Unless you're cremated, then you're not going to have a grave. But if your body is put in the ground, that is your tomb or your grave. It sounds like he has now become a zombie.
That's exactly right. That's what I think right now. He wouldn't actually be a zombie, but his appearance would be shocking and unrecognizable. And as he has risen from the dead, boy, does he ever seem like a zombie to me. So yes, Mr. White realized that Herbert was at the door, but that he had walked home from his grave and that his appearance would be shocking and unrecognizable, and that laying eyes on the sight of their child looking like this would probably be the worst thing imaginable. So that's why, while Mrs. White desperately tried to unlock the door to see her son, Mr. White grabbed the paw and made the final wish. Go away, Herbert. We can't see you in that way. We're sorry that this had to happen, but we can't go through with this as well. Anyways, it says here that Mrs. White desperately tried to unlock the door, I should say. That means she was desperate. She was despairing. She was acting like a mad person, a mad woman out there trying to do this thing because she thinks she has no other option. Yes, if she doesn't open this door, it's the end of the world for her, so she is acting desperately.
Desperately, an adverb here that just means something you really gotta have. I'm desperately looking for a job because I need money. So she tried to unlock the door. Mr. White grabbed the paw and made the final wish. That's their third wish here. And the knocking ceased, or it stopped. To cease means to stop here. Gee, when is it going to cease raining? I'd like to go out for a walk instead of listening to the rain. And when Mrs. White opened the door, no one was there. So I guess we can pretty much figure out exactly what the third wish was. Gee, they had 3 wishes, and they're all used up now. And they actually ended up losing. Well, they got 200 pounds, so I guess it wasn't all bad.
Well, I guess they got the money, but was it worth it? I don't think so. Anyways, that's it for our story, and it's time for you guys to hear from the Chinese teacher.
各位同学大家好，我是 Hanny。 我们来看今天的文法重点。课文一开始提到怀特一家人决定要去测试那个猴掌。那我们读到课文第一段的第二句，他说 Herbert suggested wishing for 200 pounds. Herbert 建议许愿要求200英镑。那这边帮同学们补充一下 suggest 表示提议或是建议的用法。Suggest 它是及物动词，我们要表达提议建议，常见的用法有2种。第一种是在 suggest 后面接名词或动名词，例如 David suggested going to the movies， 就是说 David 提议去看电影。好，那第二个常见的用法是 suggest 加上 that 子句，那这个 that 子句的结构是 that 主词加上 should 再加原形动词，可是这里的 that 常常省略，而且 that 子句里面的 should 也可以省略，只保留后方的原形动词，所以我们可以造这样的例句 The teacher suggested that he should make good use of his spare time， 也可以说 The teacher suggested he make good use of his spare time， 老师建议他善加利用他的闲暇时间。好，接着读到课文第二部分最后一句，他说 The man offered the Whites 200 pounds as compensation, the precise amount for which they had wished. 那名男子提供怀特家人200英镑作为补偿，正好就是他们许愿的金额。好，那这边要补充2个单字的字根。第一个是要补充单字 compensation， 它的动词是 compensate。那我们来拆解这个动词哦。它的字首 com C-O-M 表示一起，那么字根 P-E-N-S 这部分表示权衡。至于 ate 是动词字尾，那同学们就可以试着想象，当我们拿2个东西来衡量、来估量的时候，如果有一边不足，那你是不是就要拿东西来补偿，让它平衡均衡？所以 compensate 它就有补偿的意思。那接着你把动词字尾 ate 改成名词字尾 ation， 就会变成名词 compensation， 可以用来表达补偿的物品啊，或是金钱等等。好，第二个要补充的单字是 precise。Precise 当中这个 CIS 或者是 CID 这2个字根，它有 cut 或是 kill 的语义，也就是表达砍啊、切啊、割啊或是杀等等。那在 precise 这个字当中 PRE 这个字首表示事先，那么 CISE 表示删减。同学们可以试着联想，你把不要的、不相关的、不重要的东西全部都先删掉、砍掉，剩下的就是最确切、准确的东西。所以 precise 是用来形容精确的、准确的。好，那顺便来学2个有相同字根的单字。第一个是 incise， I-N-C-I-S-E。 好，它的字首 I-N 表示在什么之中，那么 C-I-S-E 表示切割，把这2部分组合在一起表示切进某个东西里面嘛，那么 incise 就表示切入、切开，也有雕刻的意思。好，至于 concise C-O-N-C-I-S-E 这个字的字首 C-O-N 它表示完全，它有强调的语义。 那么 CISE 表示切除，完全切除那就是干净利落嘛。那我们就可以从这边联想到 concise 它有简明、简洁、扼要的意思，它是一个形容词。好，以上是今天重点整理，我们来回顾今天的单字吧。
Departure. Molly is packing her things to prepare for her departure this afternoon. Notify. The water company notified us that the water will be shut off from 9 to 11 a.m. next Thursday. Precise. Andrew arranged to meet Beth at the precise place where they had first met each other. Funeral. In many places, it is a custom to wear black clothing when attending a funeral. Grave. Fiona regularly goes to put flowers on her mother's grave. Desperately. Looking for its lost ball, the dog desperately searched around the room. Cease. Sometime in the middle of the night, the rain finally ceased and the sky cleared.
Discussion Starter starts now!
Now it's time for our discussion starter. Hey, Roger. If you were Mr. White, would you have taken the monkey's paw out of the fire?
Well, if I knew then what I know now, I would have let it burn because I've now learned my lesson that making wishes on a monkey's paw can lead to trouble. How about you?
I also would have saved it because, you know what? I think that I'm too cool for school. I think I know better. I think that somehow I can cheat fate. Well, I don't know if I can cheat fate, but I think that I could wish ingeniously enough that the monkey's paw wouldn't get the better of me. Okay, everyone. With that, today's article is now complete. But, as always, we sure hope that you guys have enjoyed reading along with us. Anyways, I'm Jeff.
I am Roger.
See you next time.